sit however's comfortable for you. You know you're welcome. Sit on blankets if you want to, and stretch your legs out if that's better, or sit cross-legged if that feels okay to you. And just lengthen up easily through the crown of your head. For a second, let your hands move around, right? So that you can kind of shake your hands out. You can move them up and down your legs. Just roll through your shoulders a little bit. And just kind of settle in a way. Let yourself really settle in, feeling your sitting bones reaching down towards the ground. Eyes gently closed. And then just accept your breaths coming in and going out through your nose. And see if you can relax your eyes. Maybe even if your eyes were open, imagine you're kind of looking down a little bit towards the ground. You can let your breaths even out. So when you inhale, let yourself go ahead and count. And whatever count you reach to, see if you can reach that same one as you exhale. Bless you. So that you really feel the breaths evening out in length, your inhales and exhales evening out in length. Start to rock a little bit with your breath, letting your exhalations bring you forward and your inhalations bring you back up. So really taking your time, letting yourself enjoy feeling that gentle movement with your breaths. And still letting the inhales and exhales be fairly close to the same length. And the next time you end up forward, let yourself stay there. You can put your hands down. You can walk further out if you want to, or you can stay up higher. You know, take your time. Just ease your way as far into that seated forward bend as feels good for you. And try to let yourself release your neck. You can let your face start to really release all around your eyes, all around your mouth. And then come up enough where you can walk over towards your left thigh. Let yourself come out over that left thigh. You can allow your body to come farther towards the thigh, or you can stay up high. That's totally up to you. And then we'll come up enough to walk back through center, and we're going to walk over to the other side. So take your time there. Again, let yourself release. And then we'll come on back into center again. And let's walk ourselves all the way on back up, releasing our hands on out to the floor beside us here now. And inhale both arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And then release and stretch your arms straight out into a T position from your shoulders. Rotate your palms up for a second. And then let your fingertips come to touch the tops of your shoulders real easily. And then just circle your elbows in one direction. Now you can make these circles very small. You can let them get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go if that feels good. Feeling your shoulders here, letting yourself just gradually warm up through the shoulders. And then we'll stop in reverse direction. So when you do, you can start small again if you want to. And then get bigger and bigger if that feels okay. Totally up to you. You know that. Good. And then finishing off, letting yourself release elbows down, hands on down to the floor here. Walk your hands back behind you. You can stay up on fingertips if you'd rather. Drawing the chest forward, letting the shoulders draw down. And you can look up a little bit. You can look more forward if that feels better for your neck. So don't stress your neck out here. Just be mindful there. And then we'll come on back up. Actually, let's switch the cross of our legs. So if you need to stretch them out for a little bit before you bring your other leg in front, you can. Just take your time here. Again, as you lengthen up, we'll move forward and back with our breath. So we'll let our exhales bring us forward, and our inhales bring us back up. So just moving really easily with your breath. And again, go back to that evenness between your inhales and exhales if you can. Again, the next time that you come forward, let yourself stay there. Again, hands down to give you a little support. You can stay up high. You can walk further out, further forward, depending on how your back feels. Be mindful. Again, think about releasing your neck, your face. Good. One more breath here. And then let's walk over to the right, again, coming out over that right thigh. Enjoy a breath or two here. Because then we're going to bring our right hand a little farther back on the floor so we can open into side stretch here. So supporting yourself there with your right hand on the floor. And breathing into the left side. And then as we turn back to look down to the floor, bring that hand down. We're going to walk back through center. And go over to the left. Say it first, out over the thigh. Let yourself adjust there. And then putting the left hand a little farther back to give you that support for your side stretch. Opening up into, breathing into the right ribs here. And then as we turn back down towards the floor, we're going to walk back forward again with our hands. And then walk your way all the way up, bringing your hands on out beside you. We'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms and stretch our legs out this time. So let your legs come on out in front of you. Move through your feet, your ankles, little bounces if you want, little windshield wiper blades if that feels good. And then just sit up nice and tall. Find your staff pose for a second here. As you reach your hands down, let yourself go ahead and lengthen up through the crown of your head. Heels are on the floor, drawing back towards you a little bit here. And we'll take a twist to the left, bringing our left hand behind us and right hand on around towards wherever it comes to, really, on the outside of that left leg or on top. Now, still feel your heels in the floor. Feel your sitting bones equally reaching down. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and all the way into the other direction. Finding that twist here. Keeping the legs gently engaged. So again, you're feeling your heels on the ground, drawing back towards you, pressing into the balls of your feet a little bit. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, let yourself come on back around into center. And now just bring the soles of your feet together. Let yourself come into a little Baddha Konasana. If you want to grab blocks and put them underneath your knees. And see if you can't come forward a little bit and just use your thumbs to press gently into the arches of your feet. And you can kind of run your thumbs to the top of the heel all the way down, through to the big toe mound, and then go more to the center of your foot and more to the pinky toe side if you want. But just kind of wake up there through the arches of the feet. If you want to give your toes a little love, give your toes a little love as well. So that you wake your feet up, really just give them some help with the hands, stimulating them here. So take your time, let yourself enjoy. And you feel like they have a little more going on there, your feet do, a little more energy. Go ahead and release back up. Let your legs come on out in front of you. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. Maybe you do feel a little more light on your feet. So, if you need a blanket anywhere, use it. Under your hands, under your feet, knees. If you need to be off of your hands, onto your fists, or put your forearms down, do it. And now first here, see if you can just look over your right shoulder, okay? Towards, like you're looking back towards your feet. And then send your feet a little more to the right so you can really see your feet now. And just enjoy breathing into that left side a little bit. And then come back to center with everything. And we're going to look the other way, over the left shoulder. Feet just pivot over there to the left. You're looking back at your feet. Good, and then we'll come on back into center again. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, drawing up into your cat pose. Now, moving through your cat-cow is your choice. Some people, for various reasons, don't want to be doing cat pose or don't want to be doing cow pose. So, you can let yourself move from neutral spine to either one of those. If you're having any kind of issue or something doesn't feel right or you're not supposed to be doing it, don't do it. Take your time. Good. And then to finish off the one you're on, come on back to more neutral. And now let's look over to the right, rise our right arm up. Let it come as high up towards the sky as you can, your hand. And then we're going to thread the needle with that right arm, coming on down and through, letting the right side of your head come down to the floor. And totally optional whether you want to stretch your left arm overhead or keep your hand there by your face, with the elbow bent. That's fine too. So just experiment, be where you can, let that shoulder release. And then bring the left hand back by your face and come on back up to all fours. And we're going to let the left arm come up. So again, if you can let it go, hand up higher and higher do. You can look at it if you want. And then as you thread the needle, come on down towards the floor with the left side of your head, releasing. And right hand can stay right there, or you can stretch the arm out overhead if you want. So breathing into the back body. And then bring your right hand back by your face, press your way on up. And from here, let's curl our toes under, lift our knees up a little bit, and then go ahead and reach all the way back into your downward facing dog pose. So walk a little bit in your dog, wag your tail around if you want to, move, whatever way helps you adjust into a down dog. You might want to glance at your hands and make sure they're pretty even, right? So your pointer fingers are about parallel to each other. Elbows are hugging towards each other. Good. One more breath in your dog. And then let's come on out to a plank. Let yourself find your plank here. Engage your belly, Let yourself feel maybe the hips a little bit higher than usual. Make sure you're not dropping down into the hips, right? And then let's put our knees down, and we're going to step our left foot forward. If you like your blocks for lunge, go right ahead and get them. And as we come on into that first lunge, take your time, get your feet established, and then just come into a couple of those little pulses, right? Where when you inhale, your hips lift up a little bit, the front leg straightens a bit. When you exhale, you come back down into the full lunge. It's almost like your lunge is breathing, really. So inhale, you come up a little bit, the front leg comes a little straighter. When you exhale, your hips come back down. And you do it with your breath, and it feels really natural and easy. Good. Finish off back in your full lunge now. And we're going to switch legs. So however you want to come to the other side. So again, getting your alignment in your lunge first. Letting yourself really get the feet just the distance apart you like. And then that little sense of a pulse. Inhaling up a little bit with your hips. Exhaling as you come back down. And it's not a big movement. It's small and deep. Good. Next time you come back to full lunge, let yourself stay there. And we are going to step forward and come on into standing forward bend now. Feet hips distance apart and parallel, using whatever you like for support. If you need that long back, keep your hands supported. Put your elbows above your knees if that feels good too. Or go ahead and release fully if you're fine to come into a forward bend. Remember, you just don't want to put any kind of discomfort into your back. You also don't want to feel like you're pulling at your sitting bones when you're in a forward bend. There is a release in the backs of the legs. It's of course fine to bend your knees. One more nice, easy breath here. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips as we press into our feet and rise up to standing. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose, so take your time, adjust your feet if you need to. Let yourself really, once you come up and you feel like you're pretty well aligned here, let your shoulders roll a little bit, one way, the other, just to try to feel that little bit of movement in your shoulders. So that when you come for the shoulders to just melt down away from the ears, you can feel the sense of the top of the head reaching up. Shoulders are just really naturally released down. And there you are in your mountain pose where it feels very balanced, very easy to be. And then we'll let our arms unfold all down beside us here now. And inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees. Come on forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat, long back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge here. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide, hug your elbows towards each other, reach equally back through your sitting bones. And on your next inhale, come on out to a plank. Nice and strong, engage your belly. And we're going to lower down so you know you can put your knees down first. That's up to you, elbows right by the rib. Well, let's come on into a Sphinx pose with our elbows under our shoulders. Spread your fingers really wide now. So imagine you're trying to reach your pinky and your thumb as far apart from each other as you can, like if you were at a piano trying to reach an octave, right? And then really let the fingers spread so you really feel the hands spread all the way out. And then just feel the belly gently a little bit engaging, just a little bit. It protects your back there. One more breath. And then lower down and stretch your arms out into a wide V, like you're reaching your arms towards the corners of your mat. Let your head rest there for a second. And then on your next inhale, let just your legs float up. Okay, so your legs are floating up. Now let your head float up too. And now see if you can float your hands off the floor as well, into a locust pose here. And then we'll lower everything back down, bring our hands back by our chest. We're going to shift back into down dog, so whether you go through a full or a half push-up is up to you. And then from here we'll bring our right foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward then. So again, you need support, use it. You like to fold all the way, maybe you want to hold your elbows. Maybe you want to put your hands somewhere else, behind your legs or on the back of your head. If you like to clasp your hands and rest them on the back of your head, not pulling, but just, that's certainly added traction there. And then we'll release hands again back to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet and rise up. And inhale our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms like wings as you fold forward from your hips. Let your next inhale find that long spine, and we'll step the left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Again, spread those fingers wide, reach back through your tailbone. And on the next inhale, come on out to plank. Take a breath here in your plank, really strong in your plank. And then we're going to go back to dog again. So let yourself reach back again into down dog. We'll do that one more time. Inhale your way out to plank. And then we're going to reach back again into down dog. And as we inhale our way out to plank here again, we're then going to lower down. So knees first if you need, elbows by the ribs. Coming into that little cobra. If you want to go higher, press into your hands and go on up. So take your time, find your back bend of choice there. And then we'll release to come on back down, and we're going to make our way back into down dog again. And from here, we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Go right to your breaths. And let those even inhales and exhales be there. So if you feel a big discrepancy between the length in your breaths, just try to find a way to even them out for yourself, right? You might think of letting one shorten so the other one gets closer to it, and then eventually they both kind of get a little bit longer again. Release our hands back up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms on beside us. Inhale the right arm all the way up overhead. And then go ahead, bend both elbows. If you can think about your hands just reaching towards each other on your back, do. If that's too much, don't do it. You know that. Let your shoulders just wake up a little bit there. Keep your gaze forward. And now we're going to stretch both arms back long, and all we're going to do is just reverse. So letting the left arm come up and bending the elbows, thinking about letting yourself, if you feel like doing that. Remember, if this bottom shoulder bothers you, your right shoulder, if I were you, I just wouldn't do it. Often that's the shoulder is worse than the top shoulder as far as sometimes feeling compromised. We're going to unfold the arms back long again. Now the right arm's going to go up to join the left, up overhead. See if you can come into mountain with your arms overhead, and you might even want to look up. One more inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and fold forward from your hips into standing forward bend. Inhale into a long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog. Let your inhale carry you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And on your inhale, come into your cobra of choice. And exhale back into downward facing dog pose. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, let your body come forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. And exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward dog. And let your inhale bring you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees all the way up to the top of the breath. And your exhale brings you forward again. Inhale into that long back. We're going to come into down dog, however you want to get there. So make your way into dog. Wag your tail around a little bit. Come back to your breath. Let your breath settle down a little bit. And now feel all of your hand on the floor. Both hands are equally into the floor. So make sure you really feel your thumb pressing down on your pinky. You feel your pointer finger and your ring finger, and then your middle finger. And you feel your elbows hugging in towards each other. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. You might want your blocks. We're going to come on up for warrior one. So bringing yourself on up, adjusting your back foot, bringing your hands to your heart for a second. And be mindful. Really feel that arch of that back foot lifting up or trying to lift up so you're not rolling to the inside of that back foot. So that really opens even deeper into the front of your hip. And now just see, you have your shoulders over your hips right here now. See if you can keep your body long and lean forward out over that front leg. You're not going far. It's like you have this long diagonal line now down the back of your body. Good. Now keep yourself as you come back up, getting the shoulders back into your warrior one. Keep that belly lifted. And then inhale your hands right on up through the midline and see if you can clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up. Hug your elbows in towards each other a little bit. Now where you go from here up to you can stay right here. Feels really good. If you like to add a little back bend, you can start to feel that lift at the base of the shoulder blades and bring your gaze up higher. And your shoulders can, depending on what your shoulders can do, your arms can go back by your ears so they stay there, or your arms can still stay forward if you want. So kind of enjoy where you're at there now. Feel that wonderful balance of your warrior one pose. One more breath. And then bring your gaze back forward again. Let your hands come right back down through the midline to be in front of your chest. Unfold your arms, and we're going to straighten the front leg out. Now we're going to bring our hands back. How you bring your hands behind you is up to you. You might want to hold a hands, a wrist, a forearm, elbows, you can do reverse namaste hands if you want to. So coming into pyramid pose, thighs are lifting up towards the hips. Really feel the feet in the floor. Let yourself feel equal. Now you don't have to go far with your arms back. You're going to work like crazy even if you come a few inches, right? Be where you can, as long as you can with your arms up like this. It's almost like you're leading with your chest. And then when you're ready to release your arms on down, hands can come to whatever surface you want to use. You can readjust your legs a little bit if you need to. Once you get your hands down, if you want to go longer or shorter, you can. And then ground your right hand and bring your left hand up to your left hip. Roll your left shoulder up. Come into just a little bit of a twist there. Don't force it. Just coming into feeling the outside of that left leg. One more breath. And then let yourself come on back with the hand down. Now, if you like to fold forward over that front leg, go right ahead. If that bowing over, letting your head hang there feels good, you can. If not, stay with your flat back. Let yourself be where you can. One more breath. And then we're going to come into a lunge, bending the front knee, releasing that right heel now directly behind your foot. So take your time there. We're going to add a twist of choice. Left hand to the left hip, rolling that shoulder up. If you prefer to bring your right elbow to your left knee, do, into twisted prayer. And of course, if you have your right hand down, you can stretch your left arm up if you choose, rather than keeping it on your back. It's up to you. And then we're going to release and come on back down, and we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So take your time, walk to the tops of your feet a couple of times, and really allow yourself to press into your toenails, right? So when you do that, you can really feel the tops of the feet, getting a huge release. And then bring your feet a little closer together and hook your right foot around the back of your left ankle. And let your left heel descend down. So there's a little bit more going on in that left leg now. And then switch feet. Right foot goes down, left foot circles behind that ankle. And you're going to stay there for a second. Good. And then bring your feet back into dog. And come on out to your plank. Nice and strong. And then to lower down, just for fun, put your knees down first, okay? Find your half plank, lift your feet up, and pull yourself towards the front of your mat. So you actually literally pull yourself a little more above the kneecaps there, and then lower down really slowly, elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into either an up dog or a cobra if you're comfortable to do that. So you can curl your toes under, come into an up dog, or you can be flat on the tops of the feet. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And now you're on your own. If you'd like to do some more vinyasas or kriyas and move a little faster, or if you'd like to just do another slow and steady, do. Take your time. Maybe your body is insisting you do something else. Let yourself do it if it does. Good. And then we'll finish off. We're going to meet back in down dog. So take your time as you come back to dog. Spread those fingers wide. And then from here, we'll bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for that warrior one on the other side. So again, blocks are handy. Line up how you feel good in your hips in your warrior one. Feel that back foot on the floor. Remember, the arch is trying to lift up, which really makes you feel more openness in the front of the left hip. Hands together in front of your heart, getting your shoulders square to the front of your mat. Let your shoulders kind of roll a little bit. Let yourself feel that easy sense, finally, of allowing the shoulders just to release down away from your ears. Good. And we're going to rise the hands on up through the midline and interlace your fingers. Send your pointer finger up. Hug your elbows in towards your face. So again, you still have a lot of space. It's like you're framing your face. There's a lot of space between your ears and your shoulders. Whether you look up or not is up to you. That final little lift. Bringing yourself into your warrior one where you're comfortable. But at the same time, you're extended, really. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself come to look forward. Bring your hands back down to be in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And then we'll unfold our arms. And as we straighten this front leg out, if you need to adjust to get your hips square, do. And then bring your hands behind you. Again, how you hold, whether you hold forearms, wrists, if you like to do reverse namaste, arms there. And then coming forward, maybe it's only going to be a couple inches. Feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. Let yourself take your time to feel the length of the spine and really long through the sides of the body. Keep those legs engaged. And then when you're ready to lower your hands down, whatever surface you want to use, once you get your hands down, sometimes you just really need to readjust. So feel free to do that if you want. So you feel very equal through the sides of the body. Let your left hand stay grounded. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Roll that right shoulder up and see if you can just give the outside of that right leg a little longer. If you really want to go crazy, you can try lifting all your toes up. Finding the four corners of the feet into the floor. And then bringing the right hand on back down. Now you can fold over this front leg if you choose to. So you can stay up, more parallel, more long spined, or you can go ahead and round some if that feels good. Good. One more breath here. And then come up so you can bend that front knee now and release the left heel directly behind your foot for the lunge. And add in your twist of choice. So whether you keep your left hand grounded, bring your right hand to your hip, roll the shoulder up, maybe stretch the arm up if you want, or maybe you prefer to come into twisted prayer. You can always let yourself adjust to bring that left elbow across to your right knee. So find your twist of choice. Enjoy that twist in the middle of your back. Beautiful. And then we'll release to bring the hand on back down. And we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. So again, this time bend both your knees really pretty deeply. Reach back through your sitting bones. Hug your elbows towards each other. Find the length of the spine. And then come on back to full dog. And if from here you want to come into vinyasas or kriyas, you can go for it. Remember, you can either put your knees down and rest. You can come out for plank. You don't have to do back bends. You can come from dog to plank and back, or you can come out to your plank and move through for a back bend. Take your time. Good. And then we'll finish off so we can meet back again in downward facing dog pose. Really find your dog. And in fact, imagine you're just coming home to your dog, really. Reaching equally back through your sitting bones. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. So again, you might want to have your blocks handy. Let yourself release on into warrior two. See if you can bring your arms up into a wide open V. Once you get established in your legs, turn your pinkies towards each other. And let yourself kind of bring your shoulders more in line with your hips. So instead of turning totally sideways with your body, your left shoulder is drawn back a little bit. So you're kind of looking at a little bit of a diagonal bone here. Good. Now turn the palms away from each other. Start to lower your hands. Imagine you're going through something thick. Thicker than air, really, to let your hands come on into your warrior two arms now. Bringing your gaze out over the top of that left hand. Reach out through the fingertips. Now, you know how we spread our hands in our Sphinx pose? Do that for a second. Really spread out your fingers. And then just let the fingers all come together and your thumbs come in too. And then from there, just kind of make a loose little fist with your hand for a second. And then just reach out through your fingertips, whatever feels good for you. We're going to turn the left palm up now and bring the right hand down to the leg and reach up even behind yourself if you choose. Inhale into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So your left hand or forearm can be on your thigh. Adding that right arm up if you choose to. You know, if you like to go lower, you can put your left hand down onto a block or onto the floor if you want. Let yourself just enjoy lengthening through both sides of the body. Good. Now, see if you can just make one big circle with this right arm. Let the arm come straight up like you're doing a triangle. Let the arm come down towards your body. And it's going to circle right on up in front of your chest and come right back into line. And then we're going to come all the way back into warrior two, pressing the feet away from each other as we come. And then bringing our hands down, we're going to turn our feet more parallel. And you may want to grab your blocks as you come on into a wide-legged forward bend. take your time. Bend both your knees for a second when you get there. And then start to straighten one leg out at a time. So you come through both legs being bent, and then one leg straightens. Then both knees bend. That's just a little bit different feeling than when you don't go through both knees being bent. You just shift from side to side. So take your time, try that. If it bothers your knees, obviously don't do it. And then when you're ready to come on back into center, let yourself come into center and bring your hands out in front of you, whether they're on blocks or the floor, so you can have a nice long back. Really lengthen out. And now bend both your knees a little bit and imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. Press your feet away from each other. Feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you. And then just start to find a way to release where you can be comfortable for a few breaths. And that might mean using support. That might mean folding all the way to bring your hands between your feet. You might want to put your elbows above your knees to support you. Everyone is different. Find where you can be and stay so that you're not fighting yourself. So physically, you're obviously engaged because you're standing up, but you're trying to let your upper body really relax. And the best way to do that is just to let yourself go to your breath. And watch the breath fully and deeply as it comes in and goes out, so your awareness stays with your breath. Good. And now from here, let yourself bring your hands on to walk around to your left foot again to come into lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose from here. And once you're in dog, do what feels good. Vinyasas or kriyas. Put your knees down if you want. Really be mindful. Kind of accept what your body needs to do right now. And so instead of being like on automatic pilot, accept what your body needs to do right now. Good. And then when you're ready, meet back in downward facing dog pose. Feel your fingers spread wide. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Good. And we're going to bring our right foot forward and we're going to come up for warrior two on the other side. So again, getting established in your legs, in your stance, bending that front knee. Taking your time then, once the legs are okay, to bring the arms up into that wide open V. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Feel your shoulders melt down. Good. And then as you turn the palms away from each other, it's like almost like you're pressing down with your hands a little bit. Pressing down to bring the arms into warrior two arms. Reaching out through your fingertips. And again, do that hand spread. Really stretch out through the fingers for a second. And then softly bring them back in to where your thumbs come in, the fingers meet. And then make those loose little fists. Circle a little bit too. Let your hands circle around. And then just release to where you feel the best as you reach out through your fingertips here now. Soften the shoulders down. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other on the mat. And we're going to turn that right palm up. Left hand comes onto your leg, so it gives you a little support as you breathe into the right side here. Into your reverse warrior. And on your next exhale, coming into side angle. So remember, in your side angle, hand or forearm onto your thigh. If you're able to bring that left arm up, do. Remember, it's not necessary to use the left arm. If your shoulder bothers you, don't do it. So elongating through both sides of the body, drawing your outer right hip back a little bit. Remember, we're going to make a big circle with that left arm. So let it come up like you're in a triangle, up first, and then it's going to go down towards your leg, towards your left leg, and swing in front of your chest and come back into line there with the side. Press into that right forearm, Lengthen still, one more breath, beautiful. We're gonna come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other. And then letting your hands come down. We're gonna turn our feet again more parallel. See if you can clasp your hands behind you here now. And bend your knees and come on forward. Now, keep a long back. Don't go any farther than parallel to the floor at first. So it's like your chest has led you here, right? And see about, just for a second, hugging your elbows up towards the ceiling so you feel that action. It's like kind of your ribs feel like they hyperextend a little bit there. And then go ahead and let your elbows come down. Take one more breath. And then release your hands. Let them come on down to the floor. We're going to walk over towards our right foot. And once you get over as far as you want to go, let your right hand come on up to your hip. You can roll into that twist if it feels good, rolling that shoulder up. Now you can stretch the arm up if you want. Right hand can come up if you like to do that. And then come on back down. We're going to walk back through center, and we're going to walk to the left. Again, once you get as far as you want to go, left hand on up to your hip. If you like to roll your shoulder up, you can. Of course, if you like the left arm to stretch up, you can do that. And then we'll come on back, hands down, walk back into center. Turn your toes out a little bit, bend both your knees like you're in goddess. And see if you can go pretty low, right? So your hands can be on the blocks. You know, you can be up higher with your torso, but see if you can kind of bend your knees a little deeper, right? Let it feel good. All right, and then we're going to come on back up, turn our toes back forward, and settle into where we want to stay in the pose. So now is a good time to use support. You know, if you feel like I can't really let go, but sometimes just a little bit, using blocks under your forearms or your head or your hands, or just enables you to be able to let go a little deeper. So again, just following your breath in and out. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And from here, we're going to come on up so we can walk back to that right foot. Come on back into your lunge and back into your downward facing dog pose. Last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any. So if you feel like you want to come out, you know, you don't have to do anything at all. You can let yourself move how you want. And then when you're ready to meet back in down dog, come on into your dog, walk your feet wider on your mat towards the outside edges. In fact, see if you can get your big toe and your second toe on the mat, and the other three are out onto the floor. And kind of finagle your way there. And then bend both your knees, walk your hands back. You can put your elbows above your knees if you'd like. If you feel like you'd rather come deeper, you can bring your hands between your feet, wrap them around the back of your feet onto the outside of your ankles. And of course, if you want to squat way down, you're more than welcome to squat down in this pose and either bring your hands together in front of your chest, in front of your heart, or maybe you feel like you need to readjust your feet rather than staying with them so parallel. If you want to turn your heels in a little bit and that feels better in your squat, to do that. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly bring our hips back up, bring our feet underneath us, hips distance apart and parallel. Lift our toes up for a second. Now you can take your hands if possible and kind of spread your toes out a little bit, maybe even massage each toe a little bit. Thank your feet. And then let your toes softly come back down to the mat. And then bring your hands to your hips. We're going to rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. So be easy coming into your mountain pose. If you need to adjust, adjust. If you want to sway around a little bit, sway around a little bit. Enjoy that lightheaded feeling, right? You feel your feet equal on the floor, but at the same time, it's almost like you're floating, right? Like you're almost floating a little bit above the floor. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down beside us. Move around a little bit, shake out. We're going to come to a wall. We have room. We can make our way into a wall. We're going to let ourselves, so 3 people can be there. And then, yeah, you and you there. Yeah, and you don't really need a lot of wall. So Celeste, you can be actually either one you want, either over here, or if you want Celeste, you can come and be right here.
Okay.
And we're going to stay, so just bring everything with you. Have your mat and have everything with you, so you don't have to go back and retrieve. And we're going to come to the wall and turn our left hand towards the wall. And we're going to come on up onto our left foot for a little tree pose. But before you think about lifting your right foot off the floor, really shift your weight onto your left foot. Right? Feel that lift in the front of the left hip here. And now, before you lift your foot up, bring your hands to your heart. And then see if you can just softly bring the foot up to your inner calf. If you have to touch the wall to do that, do. If you have to bring the foot back down because you go, oh my, that's a lot harder than it seems, then put the foot back down, try again, feel that lift through the front of the left hip. And then come on back down. Sometimes it's really telling to put your foot on your calf instead of up in your inner thigh. It's harder, right? If you're one who loves to bring your foot up to your inner thigh, go right ahead and do that. You know, you're trying to get your heel up as high as you can. You're feeling the foot pressing into the inside of the thigh, and then voila, actually it might be a heck of a lot easier here than lower to balance. So, you know, don't let them fool you when they talk about the basic poses of yoga, right? Actually, those little lower poses, shall we say, really prepare you. And that makes it, when you get into like a full pose, feel very easy. You know what I mean? It's just kind of interesting. So practicing with your foot lower, not a bad idea. You know, feeling the foot into the inner calf instead of into the inner thigh. But just play a little bit. And then come on down and just step onto your right foot. Shake your left foot out just a little bit. Because we're going to go back to the left foot. We're going to bring the right foot behind us. Come back if you can to hold on to the top of your right foot. If you can't get your foot to come into dancer's pose, then just keep the knee bent and let your hands stay down. And stretch your left arm up the wall if you can. Now first, press your foot into your hand if you have your foot. And send your chest a little forward and your knee a little back. But keep your hand where it is on the wall. So it's up and you're really opening across your chest here. Take a little bend in that left knee. Make sure you're not locking your knee. Now see if you can go a little further with your chest. You can move your hand on the wall a little bit. And you might even want to let go once you get out there and balance. I know some of you like to go even farther. Some of you don't like to go so far. You can not balance if you don't want to. Take your time. Come on down. And then march a little bit, bringing each knee up in front of you. Right? You can hold the wall if you need to. But let the knee come up pretty high as you march a little bit in place. All right? It's a nice release. We're going to turn around. And we're going to step to the right foot. Not first. Don't even pick the left foot up. You can be like on the ball of the foot. Shift the weight to the right foot leg and really lift up through the front of that hip. Hands to your heart. So here you go. Thinking about bringing the foot to your inner calf, which is actually a lot harder than it looks, right? So take your time. Good. You need to put your foot down, do. And then, of course, if you're like, okay, well, that's fine, but I really like bringing my foot up higher, then go ahead and come down. Bring your left foot up to your inner thigh if you choose to, right? It's kind of different, though, to let yourself just experiment. We get into habits, and then all of a sudden we don't really realize how we got into the pose where we are now. So sometimes going back is a good thing. It's not like you're going backwards. Good. Nice. And if it's a bad balance day, just kind of let go of it and go, yeah, it's a bad balance day. So what? Come on down when you're ready. Shake out a little bit now, walk around a little bit, and then you're going to come into that dancer. So bringing that left knee behind you. Now again, left foot behind you. You don't have to get the foot. It's harder actually to not get the foot. So if you're able to get the foot, you can press your foot into your hand. Rise your right hand up the wall. Send the chest forward and the knee back a little bit. And now you're really open in the right side of your chest right now because your hand is behind you a little bit. It deepens the back bend actually. And then you can decide, well, I'd rather let the arm come forward more and bring it off the wall and balance. Totally up to you. Beautiful. And then come on down, let yourself release. Right away, come right down to the floor. Bring your feet back to the wall and come on into child's pose. And see if you can let yourself stand your right arm through, thread the needle, and release to the right side of your head there. And you know, you can keep the left arm soft or you can stretch it up overhead. And then we're going to come up and switch to let the left arm thread the needle there. And again, you be mindful of what feels good for your right arm. Breathe into between the shoulder blades on your back. Good. And then come on back and let's come forward onto our forearms. And you can decide for dolphin if you want to let your forearms be parallel and your hands flat on the floor, or you can clasp your hands, send your pinky finger out. And you decide once you lift up whether you're feeling pretty good about where you are right now. As far as needing to bring your arms back more, if you feel like it's not quite the right place, the right angle for you, you know. You can vary. You can lift a leg up if you want, totally optional. You don't have to do any of it. You can rest if you need to. Put your knees down whenever you want. Of course, I know a lot of you like to go all the way with both feet up the wall. You're more than welcome to do that. You know, coming between to rest, going up 2 or 3 times is kind of a good idea, just because it changes each time you go up, but the way you rest in between too is totally up to you. You might want to do child's pose, you might want to sit up with your head up above your heart. You're going to go up one more time. Let it be now to stay for a few seconds and just establish where you want to be for now. And then once we do come down, we are going to head towards a pigeon pose. And I know some of us, pigeon is a little much to bring our left knee forward and our right leg back. It's just a little bit too much. You can lay on your back and do a figure four rather than doing your pigeon this way. So you can, just to demonstrate, you can come into that figure four here, or you can leave one leg long and bring one leg in, which is another pigeon pose variation. So if your knee or your hip don't like the full pigeon, don't do it. Grab a blanket if you like and put it underneath the bent leg side too. That can help keep you pretty level. And at first, see if you can come up to your fingertips and lift up through the upper body a little bit here. So feeling that openness through the front of the right hip. And then start to ease your way onto your forearms at first. And stop when you get your forearms down. And curl your right toes under, right? And see if you can lift your back knee up for a second. And maybe even send it back a little farther before you put it back down. And then come back onto the top of the right toes if you can. And then you take your time. You can stay right here. You might want to go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go farther all the way down, either making a pillow with your hand or hands or putting your head on the floor. Breathing into your low back. Good, and now come on back up to your forearms, where we were before. And walk your forearms a little to your right, right? So you're kind of walking away from that leg that's bent. Just stay up for a second there. And then come on back through center and see if you can walk a little bit more over towards that bent left leg. And then come on back into center. Now you're on your forearms, bend your right knee and flex your right foot. So there's your quad. Take your time there. Doesn't matter if you want to come up higher or if you want to stay right here. Be really mindful of this left knee. And be mindful if you do want to come up to your hands about how it feels in your hips and in your knee. And if you do want to reach back with your right hand and get hold of your foot, you can. You can hold the outside of the foot. You can hold on to the inside. It really doesn't matter. And you can press the foot gently into your hand if you've got it there. You don't have to get the foot and you know it. And then we're going to release. We're going to come back down. And to switch sides, it is up to you what you want to do between sides, right? You may want to come into child's pose. You may just want to let yourself switch right away. And again, if you like to put a blanket underneath your right hip there, you can. So be mindful. Everybody was really well aligned. That right knee is a little bit towards the outside of your mat, towards the corner of your mat, I mean a little bit. And then that heel is in kind of close to your left hip pointer bone right here. So that usually takes torque out of the knee. See if you can come up higher on your hands if possible. So you're opening through the front of the body. And then when you're ready to release down to your forearms, let yourself stay there for a second. And now once you're there, curl your toes under that left foot, lift your knee up. So you press into the foot a little bit so you stretch out the bottom of your feet. Right where you did your thumbs into your arches. You're doing that part. And then let your knee reach a little farther back before you put it back down. And then come back to the top of the foot. And you're more than welcome to fold farther forward if you want. So nice breaths into the low back. See if you can literally feel the low back expand when you inhale. If someone had their hands right there on your low back, just above the buttock, they'd feel it expand outward and upward. And come up a little bit here. You're on your forearms again. We're going to kind of walk the forearms to the left. Let yourself come over to that side. And then we're going to come back through center and try to go a little bit over towards that leg now so that you're coming to your right. Good. And then come on back into center again, and we're going to bend that left knee. And this may be as much as you want to do right here. Flex the foot. Feel like you're kind of pulling your heel in towards your buttocks. It feels great in your thigh, of course. You can come up to get more of a quad stretch if you want. To bring your left hand back, you can, holding on to the top of the foot. But take your time. Let it feel really like the best as you press the foot gently into the hand, if you have your hand on your foot. Best openness through the front of the left hip and in your quad. And then we're going to release down. Now from here, all we're going to do is roll onto our right hip and stretch our legs out into a wide angle. So you're turned sideways on your mat, and if you had a blanket like I did, you'll have to either sit on it, adjust it to sit on it, or put it off so that you're, down to where you're comfortable, legs out wide, knees and toes facing up, and then come a little bit forward. Let your hands walk out. You can use a block if you want. You can let yourself bring your hands to your feet. So if your legs are closer together, reaching out for your toes might feel really good. If your legs are out farther, because that's the way you're built, you may feel better to put your hands on the floor. So just be mindful. Take your time. Let those inner thighs release here. Good. One more breath. Now when you're ready, come on back up. We are going to bring our legs around so we can lie on our backs. So kind of switch yourself on around. Come on down onto the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. And cross your ankles. It doesn't matter which ankle's on top. One on top of the other one. Now you can use your hands to just pull your legs in towards you so your lower back just releases to the floor. Or you might want to bring your arms around the outside of your legs and hold your feet if that feels good. So do what feels really good for your back. And then just switch the cross of your ankles and do the same thing. Let your back release. And then bring your feet to the floor. Reach your arms out straight from your shoulders. But then if you can, let your hands come a little higher than your shoulders. And I mean, even if the wall's there, you can bend your elbows. It doesn't matter. And separate your feet wider on your mat. And then just start to let your knees come over to one side. At your own timing, go to the other. Now, you might want to hang out on one side. Like when you go to the right, you might want to hang out there. You might even want to put your right foot on top of the outside above your left knee to give yourself a little more like weight, a little more stretch through the front of the hip, or you might not. By all means, take your time. You can move through from side to side at whatever pace you want to be. And then maybe your body, after doing a few of those, wants to do something else. By all means, anything that sounds good to you, go for it, right? If you need to do a cow pose, if you need to do a bridge pose, if you need to come into any other kind of hip release, as I start to head around, I would love to bring somebody might want to be comfortable for Shavasana. So the idea of the bolster, I might bring it to you and you might say, well, that was a good idea, but I'm not, it doesn't feel so good. Then I can bring you anything else you need. Blankets.
Bolster.
Bolster. Yeah. Remember. So you know, sometimes you think you're fine and then you lie there for a few seconds and you start to just feel a little tightness somewhere in your body. Let me know. Sometimes just a little bit of support can go a long way. See if you can just feel the weight of your arms and your legs a little bit, to feel your shoulders and your hips being able to relax a little bit deeper. And feel the back of your body releasing down towards the ground. And see if you can imagine on your next exhale that the front of your body just kind of melts down towards the back of your body, and everything just kind of melts down into the ground. Almost like you're made of water and you are just melting down into the floor. Feeling everything soften. And as you follow your breath and come back to your breath, just give yourself the gift of these few minutes to let your breath lead your body and your mind into a quieter place, and allow yourself to completely and fully relax. come back to feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you. And your breaths rather naturally will start to come in and go out more fully and deeply. Just let the breath be what kind of wakes up your body into wanting to physically move, and your fingers, your toes might want to start wiggling, and your hands and your feet moving, and let your arms, your legs move the way you need. If you need to let everything stretch out long, do. If you feel like bringing your knees in towards your chest, just take your time. You know you're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side. If that is comfortable for you to be in a fetal position on your side, you might want to use your arm as a pillow. Just give your body a little longer to adjust, however you decide to be there, and appreciate the ground a little bit longer. And of course, when you feel ready to rise up to sitting, let it feel as easy as you can, kind of effortless feeling, in fact, that you're soft, you're still relaxed. You get however feels comfortable to sit for your hips. And once you start to get your head again up there on top of your spine, that really starts to bring the energy back, doesn't it? So sitting the way you'd like, lengthening upward, and with your eyes closed now, come back to feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And on your next exhale, allow your hands to gently meet right there in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Namaste. Happy Friday.